On this week's show, schedule changes to the live schedule and member classes start next month, and the original Peloton Bike is out of stock.
Plus, Peloton will close all remaining Legacy showrooms by next year. The company plans to focus on healthspan and much, much more.
Welcome to Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. Here are your hosts, Amanda Siegel and Chris Lewis.
Welcome to episode 237 of Pelo Buddy TV, a show for the Peloton community by the Peloton community. I'm Amanda Siegel, and I am joined by the one and only Mr. Pelo Buddy himself, Chris Lewis. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you, Amanda?
I am good. Thank you so much. Yeah, just off the high of a fabulous weekend last week, celebrating my dad's 90th birthday, which was a huge accomplishment.
Excellent.
A milestone you never think you're going to get to see in your folks.
Yep.
So truly blessed, truly blessed. Had everybody home, had my kids home. So yeah, it was kind of overwhelming, emotional, and the rest of it. We're heading on a little cruise this week up to Bermuda to celebrate him as well. So that should be fun.
Now, is it on Disney where they have the Peloton bikes on board?
No Disney.
All right.
Disney. Royal Caribbean.
Okay.
I'll give Royal Caribbean a shout out. Royal Caribbean. I don't know if Disney leave out of Baltimore.
I don't think they do.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah, no, it's out of Baltimore, so it's easy. We didn't want to have them fly, or we wanted it to make it like easy for them. So, so that should be a ton of fun.
Nice.
And so that's kind of. And you've had a busy week too.
Busy but good. Just all things going on, but here we are. So.
Here we are. All right. Well, as always, before we get started with the news, we like to remind you guys how you can keep up to date with all of our content across all of our platforms. Every episode is released on our YouTube channel. Just hit the subscribe button at the bottom right-hand side of the video and hit the notify button to make sure that you never miss an episode.
And we're on all traditional podcast platforms. Just search for us on Pelo Buddy TV and you can find us and get it in a podcast form. And if you want to get your podcast a little bit early, you can become a supporter on Patreon and get early access to the podcast episode.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, folks, we're on all social media networks. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, X. Just search for Pelo Buddy and follow us for all of the latest news. And now, Chris, let's get on with the show.
First, let's do a rundown of the latest Pelo news.
All right. Well, our top story this week is that there are some changes coming to the Peloton class schedule. Now, once or twice a year, Peloton does like to make these seasonal changes. This one's a little bit more involved than that. So there's two big pieces that they're going to roll out starting in October. One is related to when the member classes that people can take in person in the studio are taking place. For the last year or so, they've been from Thursday night until Monday around lunchtime. That's shifting a little bit. So starting on October 9th, they're going to be from Thursday morning, all the day Thursday, and then they're going to end on Sunday afternoon. So they're basically taking the classes that were Monday mornings and they're shifting those to be Thursday mornings. So overall, I think they're going to be about the same number of member classes probably, but they're just going to be Thursday to Sunday instead of Thursday night to Monday afternoon.
Yeah.
So that's one big change. The other big change is that Peloton is going to be having less live yoga and strength classes on Monday and Tuesday. Now they're saying this is because their data shows that people love programs. So in order to support creating more programs, they're going to have less of those floor-based live classes on Mondays and Tuesdays in order to support that. Now that's going to go into place on October 6th. And so, starting this isn't expected to impact the cycling and running classes. So you should still have about the same number of those on Monday and Tuesday, but strength, meditation, yoga, we'll probably see less of those on Mondays or Tuesdays. So all of this starts in October. So keep an eye out for those changes. If you're just looking at the live schedule or you're trying to go to the studio and you're planning your trip, don't expect to be able to take classes on Monday moving forward.
Yeah. Chris, remind me, I'm having a blank right now. Was PSL opened on Mondays or had they stopped Mondays at PSL?
So this doesn't impact PSL at all. This changed.
Okay.
This is just New York for the member classes, but the schedule that PSL was already on already fits into that window. So PSL was Friday night.
Okay.
Through Sunday afternoon. So
it was Sunday afternoon. I think they did away with those Monday classes. That's what I was trying to remember.
They did that about a year ago.
Okay.
And so PSL, they're not expanding to Thursday, but they're not having to shrink anything because they're already in that, Friday to Sunday bubble.
Got it. Which always has surprised me because of the artist series dropping on Thursdays. But I guess those get thrown in there every now and again.
And there still are special one-offs that'll be outside of that, but that's just a typical window that we're going to see.
Makes sense. All right. So don't panic, everybody. I know that everybody got into like a little bit of a panic thinking that they were going to, have less classes for the studio. But it kind of makes sense not to have, staff there just for Monday mornings when the last class was at noon, and then give Thursday a full day. So folks wanted to kind of do classes
based on what we saw from the first week of that schedule drop this past week, and it really is a full day on Thursday.
Got it.
So, I'd say it's actually even more than Friday because Friday normally stops at 5 p.m. But it looks like on Thursdays, they're still going to have those evening classes that they were having before. And they'll drop artist series onto that Thursday as well. So,
yeah. All right. Good stuff. All right. Well, this next story is kind of interesting, folks. The original Peloton bike is currently sold out in the US and Canada, showing as currently unavailable on Peloton's website, even for the rental program. The only option for buyers right now is to purchase a refurbished model if they particularly want the original bike. Peloton has, in fact, confirmed the sellout, but noted that the Bike Plus remains available. Interestingly, though, the bike is still being sold in the UK and Australia, which indicates that this is a region-specific stock issue. This does come after reports of an upcoming product refresh this fall. Rumors suggest that the original bike could soon get a rotating screen, which we had chatted about previously, similar to the Bike Plus, and possibly updated display tech. CEO Peter Stern has already hinted that a new product roadmap will be revealed before the holidays. This news follows Peloton's decision to discontinue the guide last month. Though unlike the guide, the bike is expected to return once refreshed models are ready. We believe that the sellout is less about demand and more about Peloton preparing for what looks like a big fall hardware update. So that's something definitely interesting that we should be watching out for, what's coming with the original bike.
Yeah, and I will say if you are dying to get your hands on an original bike and you don't want it refurbished, some of their third-party partners like Amazon still actually have it. So there are other places to get it, but this is just from Peloton themselves, who seem like they're preparing their systems and everything to get ready for that refreshed model when it comes out this fall, once it's officially announced. Well, in other news, Peloton gave a little update about their showrooms. Now, over the last year or two, we've covered multiple times how Peloton has been closing lots of their traditional showrooms. They've been sporadically closing them in batches. As they've been doing that, they've also been talking about their micro showrooms. They opened their first one in Nashville. Well, during a conference this past week, Peloton's chief financial officer, Liz Coddington, spoke, and she actually said something she clarified that Peloton is actually planning to close every single one of their legacy showrooms by the end of the fiscal year, which is by next June. So one thing to point out is that Peloton Studios New York and Peloton Studios London, those have showrooms in them. Those are not considered legacy showrooms. Those are considered part of, the studio operations and all that. But there are around 13 or so traditional legacy showrooms left as of the last fiscal quarter. And according to her most recent statement, they're planning to close all 13 of those over the next year. And 5 of those will probably be by the end of this month. So there's going to be another batch coming up and then the rest sporadically closing. But as they do this, they're opening, they plan to have 10 of those new micro store showroom opens by the end of the year. So they've talked about in previous calls how they pay about a tenth of the price for the rental in those micro showrooms. But in their tests so far, they were seeing just as much foot traffic and people coming in and making just as much money from those. So clearly they believe that's the path of the future for their own showrooms.
That's amazing. Good for them for recognizing that those showrooms were kind of a little bit redundant. Space in malls is so expensive. So yeah, that wow. But it is sad. I kind of like the odd events that they would have at the. I mean,
Yep.
you've had Atlanta closed for a while now,
Yeah.
and it sucks.
But I will say
we love
they
going
they
in there.
still can and will do events at the micro stores because
Okay.
Nashville, the first month they were open, they had 1 or 2 events at the kiosk in Nashville. So it'll have a different vibe because you're standing in the middle of the mall at a mall kiosk rather than its own,
Yeah. Right.
physical store. But they still can and will have some events there.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll keep you guys posted as we get more information on more stores that are closing and opening these micro stores. And of course, if there are events at them. So always make sure that you tune in to us to keep updated.
Yep.
All right. Well, Peloton is broadening its mission, moving from being a cardio fitness company to positioning itself as a comprehensive wellness partner. The new focus? Improving members' health span, the quality of years lived, not just the length. I really, really like this concept in making it something that is just a much broader spectrum for folks. CEO Peter Stern highlighted that while medical advances have added decades to U.S. lifespans, there's now a 12-year gap between lifespan and health span, meaning people are living longer, but not necessarily healthier. Peloton wants to close that gap by supporting behaviors that boost long-term well-being, exercise, sleep, stress management, recovery, nutrition, and hydration. Recent moves in this direction include the Peloton Kitchen, a nutrition series with Dr. Jamie Scher, the expanded sleep and recovery offerings like meditation and restorative programs, and the new longevity-focused classes, which rolled out last spring. So Peloton believes its community, instructors, and track record in building fitness habits uniquely position it to become a trusted partner in all aspects of health, not just workouts. This is definitely proving that Peloton's next chapter is about making wellness holistic, helping members live better, not just longer.
Nice. Well, changing topics a little bit, Peloton is looking to put its own members in the spotlight. They announced this week that they are creating a new community-powered film, and they want videos from members to be included in it. So they've made a new webpage where people can go and submit videos to be featured in, as I said, a community-powered film. It wants people to show how they use the bikes, the treads, or the row. And they want people to send in their clips. They want them to not be selfie style, but have someone actually capture them, professionally or at a distance. They can be horizontal or vertical. They say lighting is good. Peloton apparel is a plus. As I said, there's a page which we have linked in the show notes in our article. There's no submission deadline that was provided at this time, so we're not sure when exactly that's going to be locked down. And they say it's a community powered film, and I keep saying that in quotes because we're not really sure what that's going to be.
Right,
It
what that
could be
means.
an advertisement that they're calling it a film. It could be a true film that they put on Peloton Originals. It could be on somewhere in between, or it could just be some social media moment. So the end product of it, we're not really sure yet, but if you're interested in being featured, you can go submit your information and video and have a chance to be, in a Peloton video.
Nice. Have you done yours?
Not yet.
Okay.
You?
No. I didn't know about it until I was working on the notes for the show. So how about that? Yeah, I just have to find somebody to video me. But yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I would love to be in it. So
Yeah.
come on, you and I need to get our submissions in there. Definitely. All right, again, switching gears. On Peloton's fiscal year 2025 quarter four earnings call, CFO Liz Coddington had shared new details on how tariffs are impacting the business. We haven't really spoken about this, but she said that Peloton still faces reciprocal tariffs on equipment imported from Taiwan and China, even though some Precor products are in fact manufactured here in the United States. The imported tablets that come from Thailand may soon lose their tariff exemption, which could drive costs up even further. Both Peloton and Precor equipment imports face a 50% tariff on aluminum content. It is projected that the tariff exposure for fiscal year 2026 could reach about $65 million. Despite this, Peloton says that it remains committed to hitting that $200 million in free cash flow next year, but does admit that these tariff increases are partly behind the recent price adjustments, like that new assembly fees that folks are starting to see if you're buying equipment. It seems that the tariffs could remain a moving target depending on trade policy. And Peloton is balancing higher costs with its growth and profitability goals. Definitely be kind of on the lookout for that, but that sucks.
Yeah, and as we talked about before, Peloton's alluded to many times other price adjustments that could be in the future. When the Peloton Bike comes back into stock, the refreshed model might not be the same exact price as it was before. Maybe it will be. And they've also alluded to possible membership prices as well. So there's other, potential price changes coming down the pipeline. Well, changing gears again, Alex Toussaint's hitting the road with what they're calling the Give Back Tour. This is going to start with 4 cities where Alex is going to go to these cities and run a 5K with Peloton members. So it's going to be September 14th in Chicago, September 28th in Dallas, October 5th in Kansas City, and October 19th in San Francisco. And most of these events, they should be a 5K. When you sign up, you can submit what pace group you're in. The event is free, so you just go and you can sign up, put your name down. You will need to sign up because they need you to fill out a waiver and everything. Right now, only the first stop in Chicago has opened that reservation, but they are expected to open the other ones in the coming weeks. As I said, the event is free, but they are suggesting you give a donation to their charity partner. In Chicago, that they're partnering with I Am ALS, and they said in lieu of a ticket price, they suggest people donate $25. Peloton will match the contributions up to $2,500. So that's a charity aspect they're doing with these. And in addition to the 5K run, at the end of it, there is going to be a photo opportunity with Alex. It doesn't explicitly clarify whether that's a big group photo or individuals, but there will be that moment to get to say hello after as well.
Really cool. I know that our Harley Kirby Cakes is really exciting that they're going to Kansas City.
Yes.
It seems to be a city that doesn't often get Peloton things going on there. So I was really excited for her that they'll get to go to Kansas City. Well, more programs. The Strength Plus app has a brand new release from Adrian Williams. Adrian Williams' the Advanced Thunder 5x5 program. So this is a follow-up to Adrian's original Thunder 5x5 from earlier this year. While it's labeled advanced, it is designed for intermediate lifters familiar with barbells and weight training. The program runs for 4 weeks with 5 workouts per week, each about 75 minutes long. The structure alternates between heavy 5x5 compound lifts like bent over rows, deadlifts, chest presses, and back squats, and accessory days targeting strength and balance. Weeks 1 and 2 repeat again in weeks 3 and 4 to maximize your progress. The equipment needed includes a barbell, dumbbells, resistance bands, and cable machines, though it does state, that swaps are possible if you don't have all the gear. Adrian did say that the program is challenging. It's there to challenge members to push their limits with big lifts and structured progression. He also said if you're ready to bring the thunder, this might be the toughest Strength Plus program yet. So make sure you are ready to lift heavy.
All right. Well, Peloton is back with another round of their top 10 songs of summer, but this time it's actually the top 10 songs of summer 2025. So at the beginning of July, you may remember that Peloton had a first round of top 10 songs of the summer, but those ended up having songs from all time, basically. It was a variety of, there was from the 1960s, 1970s, all over the place. Well, this new round was actually songs that did come out in 2025. So I believe there are 5 classes in this new one. They all have the same playlist, but there's a run, there's 2 rides, a row, there's one in German. And, it includes songs like The Giver by Chappell Roan, Mystical Magical by Benson Boone, The Man-Child by Sabrina Carpenter. So it really is all of the popular songs of this summer. So you can find those in the top 10 songs of summer collection that was previously added, but now it has these new songs as well. And, catch up on the songs of the summer if you missed out on them.
Yep, lots to do with music. We also have the September artist series kicking off. It kicked off this past week with a brand new Renee Rap artist series celebrating the rising pop star, actress, and Broadway performer, best known for playing Regina George in Mean Girls. I did not know that until I researched about Renee for the story. So I didn't realize that she was actually a Broadway performer as well. The series launched this past Thursday, September the 4th, with 5 classes across 5 different modalities, all taught in English. Anna Greenberg had a yoga flow, which dropped on demand, but Aditi Shah had a live Pilates class, which was at 6 p.m. on Thursday. In Studio 4, Mariana Fernandez had all the feels with her run at 7 p.m., while Jess King was pedaling it out in the ride at the same time. Finally, our Ash Pryor was on that rower at 7:30 p.m., kind of closing out the artist series for Thursday. And this is just the start of September, folks. As mentioned last week, Peloton also has the Bad Bunny artist series that we can look forward to, and the Weekend artist series coming up. All right. And then on Friday evening at 7:30 p.m. British summertime, PSL was partying it up with the Armada Music's live DJ residency. This time, our very own Sean Husking had the club pumping on the tread. The high energy run, fueled by the vibrant house sounds of DOD, was the order of the day, and it was fantastic. The run was pre-recorded with members and dropped as a premiere on Friday. So it was actually recorded on the Thursday, I believe, and then dropped on Friday, correct? Yeah.
It might have been earlier in the day, Friday. In
maybe.
London, and then released that night over there.
Because he did have a live walk with members. Yeah, he did have a live walk with members, but he didn't. It wasn't live. That dropped. But yeah, apparently, I did not get a chance to do it, unfortunately, because we were taping. But he did say in his live walk, which I did get to do earlier in the day, that it was the most incredible experience. He said having DOD in studio with lights and all, the bells and whistles was so much fun. Can't wait to take it. So I'll have to walk it, but I'm really looking forward to taking it. So yeah, tons of fun.
Nice. Well, every week Peloton likes to share their This Week at Peloton post. This was no exception this week. So the first class Peloton featured was Bradley being back. He had his first live ride back on Tuesday, September 2nd. So that's now available on demand. On Wednesday, Anna Greenberg started a new little series. It's the Deep Core Yoga plus Pilates classes. So you'll be able to find those each week. This weekend, Robin Arzon had a 30-minute walk plus run, which took place on Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And then finally, today, September 7th, is National Grandparents' Day in the U.S. And as part of that, Peloton has 2 new longevity classes that should be released on demand and be available now. Chelsea has a 10-minute meditation for longevity, and then Adrian has a 15-minute stretching for longevity class. And that was the featured classes from this week at Peloton.
Awesome. All right. Well, happy birthday to Mila Lazar. She celebrated her birthday this past Thursday, the 4th of September, another Virgo in the midst. So huge happy birthday wishes from us here at Pelo Buddy.
Yeah.
And I guess let's go right into Instructor in the News, Chris.
Right.
With our duo, they seem to be everywhere. Susie and Jeffrey. We spoke about the Sydney
Shakeout
Marathon.
run?
Well, we spoke about the Sydney Marathon last week that they completed in, and I may have alluded to the fact, but we will share that they did in fact both get their seven stars. So that was a huge accomplishment for both of them. If any of you have been following Jeffrey, though, on social media, you will be as sad as I am that that stupid man left his medal on the plane. I still don't know whether he's gotten it back yet. And I'm hoping that the Sydney Marathon organizers post him one and send it to him in London, and it was the most incredible medal. It really was a beautiful medal cut out with the opera house at the bottom and silver. And he said, maybe I just showed it off too much on social media. He was blaming himself. Things happen. And we just hope that by the time we recorded the show, he actually has found his medal, but we're not sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Nice. Well, this Tunde had a new podcast interview. She was on the Running Interview Show where she shared a little bit about how she joined Peloton. So you can check that out over on the Running Interview Show on social media to see an interview with Tunde.
Of course, you know what the buzz was there. Is she coming to the tread? She has assured us that she's not, but we'll have to wait and see, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, German instructor Marcel Meyer has opened up about recent health struggles that he has had in a candid Instagram post. He shared that the past few weeks have been a roller coaster dealing with a leaky gut, histamine intolerance, and food sensitivities. He said that this meant switching to a strict elimination diet, adding probiotics, and relying on a small pharmacy worth of supplements. The toll was significant. Marcel lost more than 7 kilograms, which is about 15 pounds, found training exhausting, and even struggled with energy while teaching his classes. He shared that his social life and his confidence also took a hit. But there's good news. Things are turning around. He's already gained back about 2.5 kilograms, about 6 pounds. He is smiling again and has his eyes on the next High Rocks competition. Marcel reassured members that even fitness instructors face setbacks, but recovery is possible. I really think that Marcel's honesty is a reminder that health journeys aren't linear and that perseverance and support make all the difference. And I think I even said it last week when Bex was talking about her ankle injury. Things happen and we can get back, you can get back to where you need to be. And I say that as I still suffer from excruciating pain with this horrible herniation in my lower back and sciatica. And, you got to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and that you'll get there. So hopefully that gives you folks listening, that same feeling of, I got this, I'll get there.
Yeah.
And get there.
Yeah. Well, to wrap things up for this week, Ben Aldis just had a nice post. His dad hit 1,500 Peloton workouts, and Ben had a nice little post celebrating his dad. He talked about, how your journey can start anywhere, how even in retirement you can get into it and turn your life around. So congratulations to Ben's dad, and you can read Ben's full message about his dad over on his social media.
Yeah, that was a really nice post. Very, very sweet. I love that he shouted him out. All right, Chris, let's go right into picks of the week, and we'll have you kick it off.
Great. Well, first up, we got Katie Wong, who had a 20-minute pop punk row from August 29th, a midnight release. This came from Gwen Gets To, who said great music and fun energy in this class. Then Alex Toussaint had a 5-minute post-ride stretch that was released on the 29th as well. Also from Gwen Gets To, who said, I don't usually pay much attention to 5-minute stretches, but I've done this one multiple times already. It hits all the major muscle groups in a balanced way. And then Nico Serrani had a 30-minute yoga flow in English from August 31st, a midnight release. This came to us from Almajar3, who said this one had some new and challenging transitions.
And welcome back, Amaja 3, after her lovely trip to Norway. I said to her last week, I said, oh my God, Amanda, who's going to give us our picks of the week since you're away? But we are happy to have her back. So welcome back. All right. Next up, we have Chelsea Jackson Roberts had her 30-minute sleep meditation. This one came to us from Benny from the FE. It was from the 31st of August. It dropped at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. And they said, great relaxing class from Chelsea. I can attest to that. It's a fantastic new. Interestingly enough, it was actually a meditation with words to the songs in the meditation, which was something that I found unusual, but I kind of liked it. It was like a mantra that the song had throughout it. So
interesting.
Yeah, very, very. So huge shout out to Chelsea. All right, next up, Tunde has a 15-minute core strength class. It was from September the 1st, midnight drop. This one comes to us from our friend Bertha C. Runs MD. And she said it simultaneously flew by, but also lasted forever. LOL. It was broken up into 3 5-minute sections and so hard. Hollow hold party, oblique party, and plank party. Also, there was the infamous take out the trash move. I love that explanation. Thank you so much. All right. And then we had Ali Love's 10-minute bar, glutes and legs. This one was from September the 2nd, also a midnight drop. Came to us from Amaja 3. And she said this packed a punch in a quick class.
And then we have Kirsten Ferguson, who had a 30-minute pop walk from September 2nd at noon Eastern. This came from Gwen Gets To, who said this was a tough walk with a great playlist. It's great to have Kirsten back from vacation and back on the tread. Then Jess King had a 30-minute deep house ride from September 2nd, also at noon Eastern. This came from SJM40921, who said just some amazing music. And then Eric Yeager had a 30-minute Power Zone Endurance 2000s ride in German from September 2nd at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. This came to us from Bertha C. Runs MD, who said it was all Zone 2, great tunes. Eric is hilarious with his hat on the whole time, and it was good practice with different cadences.
Awesome. And rounding out our picks of the week for this week, folks, we have Bradley Rose's 30-minute 80s ride. This was his ride back from paternity leave. It was on September the 2nd at 2 p.m. And it comes from me and Benny from the FE. That was my pick of the week this week. It was fantastic to have Bradley back live. He killed that ride. The playlist was fantastic. I will say the banter from Punamis to this baby talk, we're going to have to get used to for sure. But it was very welcomed and really, really excited to have him back. And I'm going to give him a huge shout. I'm going to add this in here. If you haven't caught his and Sophia's podcast, Relatable, you got to jump on. It is the funniest, just a couple bantering away about life with a newborn and, making it work with jobs and getting back to jobs and figuring out how to raise a baby. And nobody gives you a handbook. You kind of given this baby and you got to do it, babe, and make the most of it. So I really wanted to give them a shout out. I've just caught up. I had to listen to the last two, which I did this past week. And it really is fantastic. So huge shout out for their podcast. You could find on any other podcast platform.
Relatable with the Roses is the full name.
Relatable with the Roses. Yes. And of course, after you've listened to our podcast, you can just jump over to listen to theirs. All right. Anna Greenberg, 30-minute yoga and Pilates deep core. This was from September the 3rd, midnight drop. It came to us from SJM 40921. and Amaja 3, and they said amazing core burn and stretch. Love the longer section blocks. And finally, Sam Yo. He had a 20-minute classic rock ride. It was from September the 3rd, also a midnight drop. Came to us from Jenny 808A, and they said Sam always knocks it out of the park with classic rock rides. And that, folks, wraps up our weekly podcast in a stunning 34 minutes and 35 minutes.
Not too shabby.
Probably even less because we had to do a retake in the beginning. So not too shabby. I guess there was some good news this week to share with you guys, but we packed a punch. We got it all in there. So hopefully you guys got to listen to it quickly on your way into work and not have to worry about the drive home. All right. Well, I guess that wraps it up for us, Chris. So another fantastic week. And glad we could get this all out to you guys. As always, thank you so much for taking the time to tune in and listen to us and get caught up on all the latest Peloton news, because you know you've heard it here first. Anyway, from me here in Maryland, bye for now, everybody.
And from me here in Atlanta, thanks for listening, and we'll see everyone next time. Bye.
Thank you for watching Pelo Buddy TV, your source for everything Peloton, by the community, for the community. Work out with us using the Pelo Buddy TV leaderboard tag. And don't forget to find us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Pelo Buddy. Don't forget that we have a podcast available. Just search for Pelo Buddy wherever you get your podcasts from. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode.